Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, role players across the globe, it is I, Brian Von VA, back at it again with another set of stories from r/MrRipper. Lovelies of r/MrRipper, what's the funniest way you've seen a spell be used? Part 1. I always love goofing off with mechanics in ways they weren't intended. One of my favorite silly moments was when my Tabaxi Wizard got drunk, but still had to follow the party. So he cast Tensor's floating disc before curling up and sleeping on it, forcing the party to push the floating sleeping cat around with them. What other fun moments have you had fooling around with the weave? Major image. Who needs invisibility when you can hide like Solid Snake, but in a pile of manure? All the enemies didn't want to come near it, and they rolled low on their constitution to get close enough to check it out without getting sick. So here I am, running reconnaissance in a pile of moving manure. The next time this was used, our party snuck into a town controlled by cultists, by the plan I called Trojan Horse. Major imaged a large statue of a god, paid some random people in the town over to deliver it, performance check convincing them that I gave them belts of giant strength to be able to pull it. We end up in the center of town and their leader appears. Sneak attack by the rogue that the cultists did not get a chance to blink. While I understand that the spell lasts 10 minutes, but rule of cool, my DM loved it when we did the Trojan Horse. Our team was on our way up to a mountain for a camping expedition in a total homebrew game. We were going up to look for some rare ingredients we needed for some spells and potions. On our way, we have decided to have some fun and play a game of tag. After a while of goofing around, 2 of our party members were hiding, one in a tree and the other behind another. 4 party members were basically as far away as possible to avoid being tagged. And at that point, our gnome bard, who in the game is suffering from a severe lack of sanity, fell over, got tagged, and became it. Our group had just gotten an NPC addition in the form of a werewolf, and he was very excited to play in his wolf form. He also had an insanely high dex modifier, so nobody had caught him yet. Our bard decided that he was the one to get. He turned around so he was facing away from the werewolf, jumped up, and cast Thunder Wave. He explained to the DM that he wanted to use its powerful force of movement to try and land on the werewolf. The DM allowed this, however, he also knocked over 2 trees as he did so. These 2 trees happened to be the ones sheltering the hiding party members, and both became trapped, and I think they took some damage. To make things worse, the werewolf got a high dex roll and the bard missed him. The good news is we can start a pretty decent lumber business if the plans of our party has fall through. The story of the invisible missile. This party had been together since level 1, and after nearly a year of role-playing every week, sometimes every second week, we are now all level 11. It has been a crazy story with all of us starting with pretty general characters and slowly all developing into the craziest group you ever saw. We have been on a long quest to help a demigod keep one of the biggest threats to the world contained in another dimension/plane. We are still not too sure. We did most of this around the same castle that we visit at different points throughout time and in different planes. Weird, I know. When we were all level 10, we were fighting a huge size ogre that was topped up with magic strength drugs, decked out in full plate armor, and came with his own army of just about everything under the sun. He was a servant of the big evil thing in the other plane and was sent to siege the castle. The DM really decked him out to be a CR or combat rating 15 nearly for a party of level 10 characters. Even with over 600 HP, we managed to one-shot him with an invisible missile. A few things you need to know. My character is a defensive bugbear fighter called Grog, and I have a magic shield that is magnetic, meaning I can push and pull things made of/or opponents wearing metal. Our rogue, June, is a sneak attack goddess, and our bard, Reset, loves to cast buff spells on the rest of the party. In this case, greater invisibility. I was keeping this huge ogre at bay while the rest of the party mopped up the other mobs. Once I noticed the bard do his usual of casting greater invisibility on the rogue, I got a crazy idea. I yelled at June to make like an arrow and hold on tight, having seen where she was before going invisible. I used my last magnetic charge to hurl June and her daggers at the ogre with so much force, I got a nat 20 on the strength check. June also got damn lucky and rolled a nat 20 to crit the ogre on her attack roll. The DM was so impressed, June went right through the ogre and out the other side as she told the DM she wanted to spin around as well, making her an invisible E-drill missile. To everyone else, the ogre suddenly got a huge hole in his chest and collapsed to the ground. June even did this amazing dance to celebrate being a badass MVP. No one saw the dance as she was still invisible. DM said the combination of the ogre not seeing the missile, the force from the magnetic pull, and the 2 nat 20s equals an insta-kill. He was really shocked and impressed at the same time. I used Stone Shape to encase Strahd, then used Anti-Magic Field so he couldn't do anything, ending the boss fight in 2 turns. The goal wasn't to kill him, it was to get an item and get the hell out of there. I'm pretty new to D&D, so I have no idea if this would actually work. In our final fight at level 20, our ASMR used his wings to fly above a guy and use a lightning lure to drag him up the side of a broken glass/crystal wall. Once he pulled him up and electrocuted him, he then moved up with him and let him drop. So he got the fall damage onto sharp glass/crystal. Proceeded to do this to 2 other guys, you sick man. As a laugh, because not everyone could attend our usual session, currently DIA with some homebrew flavor for our characters thrown in, we decided to have a go at Tomb of Horrors. Spoilers? Our DM told us a week in advance, bring multiple level 20 meat sacks that you won't get attached to, with any magic items you desire. So the game day rolls around and we all have our sheets ready to go. The first party fails spectacularly as they were all crushed by a giant boulder in what turned out to be a false entrance. The second party, seeing the crushed bodies, found the correct entrance. Reading a poem on the wall that seemed to have clues about some of the tomb's perils, and looking at the pictures on the wall, one by one they headed straight into a large, open, black mouth, and all immediately died. The third party is where the real shenanigans started. Having lost my human artificer, who sounded like David Attenborough, and my Tabaxi rogue, I decided to bring out my prepared halfling bard, William Wellington, who wore a big pair of red wellies. For those familiar with CBBC in the 90s, you may have an idea where this is going. This time, upon reading the poem, I get an idea. A stupid idea, a crazy idea, but it might just work. I tap the heels of my red wellies and I sing, I wish more than anything, more than life, to know exactly what the poem on the wall of Azarax 2 means. I was careful with my wording. The DM gave me a look that was somewhere between, you little shit, and what the fuck, how do I handle this? While the rest of the group and I went red-faced trying to contain the giggles. Eventually, our DM regained his composure, having thought it through, and said that, this spell takes place, and you understand the double meaning within the poem that otherwise would have led you into what you realize is a sphere of annihilation. You do get the feeling, however, that the meaning of the poem will only be revealed to you as you encounter the traps and puzzles it refers to. Fair enough, I thought. Seems like a reasonable way to approach it. Undoubtedly, there would be unmentioned traps and enemies in between. After some fun involving a dancing wooden chest, poisonous gas from a light-up archway, and a poor gargoyle that got turned into flesh and, horrified at its sudden mortality, threw itself into the sphere, the party was already beginning to turn in on itself, despite having avoided some of the more dangerous traps due to my better understanding of what we were up against. Our other bard, a heavy metal-loving dwarf, was suspicious of a doorway we had found, and attempted to use the Dominate Person spell on me to make me go through first, and thus check for deadly traps. I passed my saving throw and decided to give him a taste of his own medicine, casting Dominate Person right back. Of course he failed to save, leaving me with a dwarf bard who'd been very excited about casting Wish later at my disposal. I ordered him to wish that William Wellington was invulnerable to the traps of Asarak's tomb. He had to use my exact words, and after some looking into it and double-checking Dominate Person's effects, the DM allowed it. William proudly strolled through several otherwise deadly encounters, fully aware of what would happen and aware that he couldn't be harmed by any of the traps in the tomb. That was where I had made my mistake. Invulnerability means you cannot be harmed by something, but are not necessarily unaffected by it. The first time this became abundantly clear was when I went down a tunnel only to reappear in the room I had left, completely starkers and with no equipment whatsoever in an archway on the opposite side. Some of the other party members gave me some basic clothes and fashioned some tinfoil into looking like plate mail, and I felt a little bit better. Right up until I sauntered into a small chapel, immediately stepping on an invisible teleport trap that took me out of the tomb, to a frozen mountainside somewhere in the region of Icewind Dale with hardly any proper clothes on. The lesson? Word wishes wisely. Say that 3 times fast. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA here, back at it again to check in on our fans and friends and new viewers alike. If you liked the vid, please leave a thumbs up, and if you're new, roll that fat D20 of yours and give us a sub. If it rolls a 1 though, throw it out and never touch it again because that dice is cursed. Make sure to follow MrRipper on his Twitter for all the latest happenings and memes, as well as joining the brand new Discord, which is completely focused on bringing people together for some sweet role-playing goodness and to help you make some friends along the way. Also, check out r/MrRipper if you'd like to leave us a story that you'd like to be narrated. All the links are in the description below. Using a help action, you can also sub to moi on YouTube or follow me on Twitter at BrianVonVA, joining my Discord too, as it's a little safe place for everyone to be happy as well. Links in the description. With business talk out of the way, I just want to say I'm proud of all the people we've inspired to play D&D and other TTRPGs over the year or so we've been at this. Everyone nowadays definitely needs a way to escape from reality, just a little bit, and what better way to do so than to make friends by being complete and utter nerds, rocking out to great tunes while at a tavern, or hunting down an escaped cultist, or even by killing an epically large dragon. So many people I know in my life, including some of my own family members, have met lifelong friends or even their forever partner through games just like this. And I am hoping so much that you guys and gals out there can make some long-lasting friends, if not forever people too. Because everyone deserves to have a friend, and to feel loved or liked and wanted and respected, and honestly, all of you do too. We're all human, we all have feelings, and we're all struggling out there right now. But the best way to combat that is to stay connected, make some friends, and basically treat each other the way we want to be treated. Am I right? So you might as well treat each other kindly, try our best to stay happy, say hi to everyone here and there as much as you can, and please, for me, be safe, give yourself some love, and we will definitely see you next time. Bye for now.